This is going to be a kaftan, and I drafted the pattern from an existing kaftan I made last year. So you just saw me tracing out the shape and now correcting a little bit, and then I will cut it out later on. Yeah, this fabric I grabbed from a sales table because I thought it might be nice to wear. I found it very comfortable to my skin. But in the course of making this kaftan, I realized that this knit fabric actually is really a pain to work with, and I probably will not work with it again. Yeah, for the facing I decided taking a contrasting color, and I have chosen this green fabric. It's 100% cotton, and you saw me choosing between red and green, and I've picked the green color. And I want the facing to poke out a little bit after having sewn it. These are trims I bought in a store just in the neighborhood from a really nice guy. I like to support small businesses, and he had a stash of those trims, and I all purchased them from him. You may have realized that I cut a really deep back and front neckline, and in order to prevent the dress sliding off my shoulders, I was searching for something to secure the back. So I'm looking for a trim to do that. I will decide later on another one. Not this green strap you see here, but I will pick another trim. I bought this sewing machine second-hand. We have an internet portal called Nextdoor. It's comparable to Facebook Marketplace, but much more locally focused. For the German viewers who might be interested, it is called nebenan.de. Yeah, here you see me sewing the interface for the front part of the dress. And it's actually getting quite tricky to get the seams together. You know, I mentioned that this fabric is really hard to work with, and in order not to get it all crinkly, I had to prepare the seam. You see here on one side that I put on fusible interface as a strip. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been possible to sew the seam together. Yeah, a second preparation I made was that I basted the seams before I machined them. So you see me pulling out the basting thread. Yeah, so in order to get one seam done, it was a lot of preparation needed, and that is the reason I won't pick this fabric yet ever again. And same procedure for the neckline. I fuse on the interfacing. And here back neckline and front neckline are both prepared, and then I will put needles into the seam to prepare them for sewing. By the way, the green fabric was from an old blouse which I almost was wearing to death, and it had 2 huge holes under the arm, yes, and one in the sleeve, I guess. So I was really sad to give it up, but now it has a second life, so to speak. And to stabilize the green fabric, I also used fusible interfacing in black to give it a bit more strength. The red blouse you saw in the beginning was too small, so I thought it will also have a second life. Later on, I use it for making a middle strip. Actually, I'm not such a great fan of fabrics bought brand new. I just find it more interesting to work with already used garments. And usually when I go thrifting, I buy the clothes 2 or 3 numbers too huge for me, so I can alter them to my taste. And yeah, I find it a bit boring to just buy a brand new fabric and use a ready-made pattern and then work on it. Instead, I prefer to think, what can I make with a used, thrifted piece of clothing, and what designs can I come up with. So it gives me a bit more of a challenge. Though I do not mind to work with patterns and brand new fabrics, but I realize that I do that not very often, so that tells me something about myself. Yeah, you saw earlier this trim in my sewing box, and I decided to use this instead of the small green strip because I thought this would give it a bit more stability. And I sewed it on by hand, like so many seams in this dress. Mostly the interfacing I have sewn on by hand, and also many seams because it was so difficult to work with, as I already mentioned 2 times. Yeah, and I did a beginner's mistake because I now, as you can see, fold under the edge of the interfacing, and I should have done it before I have sewn it on. So in order to spare you some efforts, you need to think in advance how you are going to prepare and how you're going to piece the thing together. And if you don't do that, then you have a lot of work. Now, in order to gather the front and the back, like I do here, showing you, I'm going to use the old red blouse and cut off some pieces to make a strip. And here you see, I want to show you the flowiness of the fabric. Yeah, this I'm going to sew all by hand, the interfacing and also some seams. It's a lot of hand sewing here. Yeah, I already basted on, no, I did not baste on, I just put needles into the fabric, and now I'm basting on the strip in order to put an elastic into, so I can control the gathering. When I designed this dress, I had in mind to wear it during summertime. So when the nights are mellow and you go out to dinner and you want to have a special time. So this is the fitting dress for that. And also I wanted to have my arms protected when it gets a bit chilly in the night. So that's why I think this is the perfect dress to go out and have some fun. For the rest, I think there's not much to explain. To give you a little bit of a background, because I'm a newcomer to YouTube, and my very first project I edited was a total failure. I messed the whole thing up. Actually, I produced more than an hour of video content after having edited the whole thing, and then for some technical reasons I totally messed it up. So I don't know whether you're gonna see this project online or not. And it was this dress, and the dress was a friendly donation of one of my friends. She's quite a successful photographer, and I will link her website down in the description. But I found the dress really ugly. It reminded me of Grace Jones, I don't know why, but those types of dresses were worn in the 80s and they were very popular. So I can also give you some information about the original designer of it. So if you're interested in seeing the making of and how I actually commit the sin and rip apart this dress, please let me know in the comment section, so I maybe will go and put all the effort in one more time to make it available for you. So let me know. In order not to lose track, here we are right now. I'm sewing the interfacing for a sleeve. Why you have to protect the edges of the fabric so much has to do with the fact that knitwear tends to eat the machine stitches or not to keep the stitch length because of the stretch in this fabric. So the normally recommended solution of choosing a zigzag stitch didn't help either. I usually don't mind sewing by hand, but where there are very long stretches to sew, I just don't do it. It doesn't make much sense. Otherwise, I find hand sewing very relaxing, and the hand gets to difficult places that the sewing machine foot can't reach. Now here you see me top stitching the edge, and as you may also observe, the fabric shifts around a lot, and it's really difficult to hold it in place and to make a really straight stitch. I think I succeeded somehow, but it's not my very best work, I must confess.